Have you ever read Revelation and felt something missing?
A warning that should be there, but isn't?
You're right. There was a chapter the early church erased, and what it said about believers like you, it is the reason they never wanted you to read it. In 1844, Constantin Tischendorf entered St. Catherine's Monastery searching for ancient manuscripts. What he found should have rewritten scripture. Codex Sinaiticus, one of the oldest complete Bibles ever discovered. But when he reached the book of Revelation, something was wrong. Scratches, blade marks, entire lines scraped clean. Was it damaged by age? Other pages were untouched. The scribal mistake? No, the removal was too precise. A marginal note that didn't belong. Early church fathers quoted this section. Someone removed it on purpose, and not recently. This happened in the 4th century, right after the church decided what books belonged in the Bible. On the pages of Revelation, chapter 13, Tischendorf saw something no scholar expected. Ink scraped away with surgical precision. But the blade didn't reach the inner margin. And there, in the binding's edge, faint letters remained.
When he copied them down, he realized they matched no known version of Revelation.
So he checked the Codex Vaticanus, the Codex Alexandrinus, every major early manuscript. The same passages Canids were missing in all of them. Not lost, not damaged, erased. And all in the same century the canon was created. Tischendorf recorded what he saw in his private journal. But he wrote one line that reveals everything. I have found words that must not be spoken. He never published them. And here's the strangest part. When Tischendorf returned years later to retrieve the manuscript, the monastery reported that several pages had been removed by someone with church authority. Even the evidency was being erased. Why? Because Revelation, as we know it, warns about nations, the fall of empires, the beast, Babylon. But the deleted chapter warned about the church itself. Not Rome, not pagans, distant enemies. The corruption was inside. And if this text is real, then Revelation isn't a book about them. It's a book about you, about the leaders you trust, the doctrines you've been taught, the institutions you thought were safe. This wasn't the first time the church removed dangerous texts. At the Council of Carthage in 397 AD, dozens of early Christian writings were rejected. The Shepherd of Hermas, the Apocalypse of Peter, Gospels that had been read for centuries. All had one theme: corruption among spiritual leaders. Revelation's deleted chapter followed the same pattern. And like those texts, it had to disappear. From recovered fragments and quotations by early fathers like Tertullian and Irenaeus, scholars reconstructed portions of what was removed. It would have appeared between Revelation chapters 13 and 14. And it began with 7 words that changed everything. And I saw the 7 angels weep. Not rejoice, nor triumph. They wept. Because what John saw next wasn't the fall of Rome. It was the corruption of those who claimed to speak for God. The text continues, "Behold, shepherds clothed in robes of righteousness, but their hearts were filled with darkness. They spoke of mercy, but practiced cruelty. They taught the law, but broke it in secret. They claimed authority from God, but their authority came from men." And then the line that sealed its fate, "For the enemy is not in Babylon, but in the temple itself. And those who wear the crown of the shepherd have become wolves." That line alone explains why it was removed. When Tischendorf discovered this, he faced a choice: publish it and be destroyed, or stay silent. He chose silence. And every scholar after him did the same. Why? 3 reasons. First, it contradicts the official interpretation. Revelation is supposed to warn about external enemies, not internal corruption. Second, it exposes the very men who decided the canon. If they removed this chapter, what else did they remove? Third, it forces every believer to ask an unbearable question. If corruption existed, then could it exist now? These are dangerous questions. And institutions do not survive dangerous questions. But there was one more reason. The real reason scholars stayed silent. Because the deleted chapter didn't warn in general terms. It described specific leaders, men known not for holiness, but for power. And here's what no one dares to say. The very men who sat at the Council of Nicaea, who decided which books you would be allowed to read, were the men this chapter accused. The shepherds who had become wolves. The leaders who wore righteousness but practiced darkness. That is why it was removed. Not because it was theologically wrong,
but because it was theologically accurate.
Not everything was removed to hide truth. Some things were removed to protect power. And here is where you enter the story. If this chapter had remained in Revelation, the entire book would read differently. You wouldn't see it as a distant prophecy about the end times. You'd see it as a present warning about the church you attend today. The leaders you trust. The teachings you accept without question. Because the deleted chapter makes one thing unmistakably clear. The greatest danger to believers was never the world. It was spiritual corruption inside the house of God. And the question it forces you to ask is this: if they could erase a warning about corrupt leaders, if they could remove entire chapters to protect their authority, would you recognize that same corruption today? Or would you, like those in John's time, trust the robe more than the truth? And this is what the deleted chapter said about believers like you. That the real test of faith isn't recognizing evil in the world. It's recognizing evil in the pulpit. But here is the hope in all of this. Truth cannot be erased forever. Fragments survived. Margins survived. Quotations from early fathers survived. History tried to bury them. Authority tried to silence them. But what God revealed cannot be deleted. It only waits for those willing to see it. And sometimes the most dangerous chapter is the one left unread. If this opened your eyes to what was hidden, if it made you question what else might have been removed, then you're ready for the next text they tried to erase. Because this isn't the only one. There are gospels, prophecies, warnings, all waiting in the archives of history. Subscribe. Stay close. We are just beginning.